Alrighty. So, we can start off the bat with that again. You said that she technically isn't really schizophrenia.
That wasn't her original diagnosis. She really acted, and well, let's see now. She was never diagnosed schizophrenic except by word of mouth, but never officially on paper by a doctor. She was not schizophrenic, but she had to be treated like a schizophrenic in order to get help. So therefore she fit right in. She was taking their drugs, so she got like them. And the drugs make you have, you're not, when you take the drugs, you're not normal anymore. The drugs are very harsh drugs and caused her to lose her. She trembled and she also lost her speech. But she did have this problem where she couldn't be out alone because she didn't have any way, she could not make good judgments for her safety. So she had to be in secure units, and that was really bothered her. She hated it, but she did. If she went out, she would get. Once she got hit by a car, one time she got really tired and she went and crawled in a car that was open and slept till the morning. A man came to go to work and he saw this girl sleeping in his car, and so then he woke her up and she told him, I guess she must have told him where she was from, and she also would walk away from the hospital and go to people's homes, and some people were nice to her, some were not. And then she shared with them what was going on, and then one of them gave her a Bible, and I still have that Bible to this day, but they gave her one, and because she talked about the Lord, I'm sure. So then she had to be institutionalized. She took a drug called it was a drug it was in the newspaper that was in Europe, and it said it cured schizophrenia 95% of the time. And so I went to the doctors at Anoka and I asked them if they'd heard of that, and they said yes, they had, but they said we don't have it here in the United States yet, and it's very, very expensive. And he said, so I didn't think that Medicare would pay for that. So I said, well, okay, and that's and then about a year later, the doctor came to me and said, we now have this drug here in the United States because the drug company in Europe, their time that they had it ran out. Their copyright or whatever they call it. So then they said, we've asked if we could give it to Gloria. And it was called, I'll think of it just now, I just can't think of the name of it, but she took that and immediately got better. And she was so much better that they discharged her from the hospital, and she looked like Gloria, but she had lost so much because she had such poor treatment. She had all new clothes, and she was pretty and happy, and she went to a halfway house, and it was too open, so she regressed. And then she went from there to Bryn Mawr Healthcare Center in Golden Valley, and there she was treated. She got much better when she went there. She was happier. She wasn't so afraid all the time, and so she did well there until 2 years ago when another company called the Villa bought it, and they were fixing the building up beautifully, but not working with the patients, less care for the patients. So Gloria got sick. I mean, she got infection in her leg, because they didn't check her, and she had to have part of her toe amputated, and she then after that they didn't take care of her when she came back from the hospital, so she got cellulitis, and so it was poor treatment. They said they were doing it, but the nurse in the hospital, when she saw it, she said this hasn't been taken care of, this wound in her leg. So then after that, she had trouble breathing, and the spot in her lung, they wanted to operate, but that would have been another terribly hard thing because they don't take care of patients there very well. So I didn't let them do that. And so then she had that. And finally then her breathing, her breathing was started to get, so she was weaker. And then she also limped, so her knees were wearing out because she walked all the time. And so then that caused her death then, the COPD, I suppose it was. Her lungs quit functioning, and but she had one thing caused the other, another thing. So it was her care. She didn't get good enough care. But so that caused her death. But so her schizophrenia was that was difficult for her to be treated the way for her special needs. She didn't get correct treatment. But so I can't explain the reason for that, except that she was abused as young. We don't know when, but it was before she was 16, and she shut it off because she was this kind of girl that she always would do what us adults, like parents and aunts and uncles and family, teachers asked her to do. She always did what she thought was right, and apparently that's something that she couldn't tell about, the abuse. And now we know for sure that's what it was. The psychiatrist, as several of them have said that. And then also we know now that there was a person in our family relationship that used to come to our house a lot, and we trusted this person, but we saw in his life, as his life grew older, that he was a pedophile, and so that's we can't say that was him, but we're quite sure.
I think it is. What was the one symptom that associated schizophrenia with Gloria?
Well, she saw things that we didn't see, and but she did everything that we asked her to do. Like, she went to a lot of doctors. One put her on a vitamin therapy, which really helped her. She took a lot of a certain one, I can't remember what it was, and but she she was on that until she crashed. It worked for quite a while, and then it didn't. Everything we did, it worked for a while. But she did have shock treatments too in the hospital, and that blocks out a lot of your memory and a lot of your. It's not good, but she got out of the hospital after shock treatments, and she looked so smiley and wonderful. People said, "Oh, Gloria's fine," but in my heart, I knew it wasn't Gloria. I could tell, and that she was not back to herself. But she also had to be, when we had her home, we had to lock our doors so that she couldn't get out, because she would go to the neighbors and say something weird, and they didn't know what. They called the cops, and the cops would come, and then the cops told us we had a child that we were not taken care of, and we were bad parents, and so it was one episode after the other of hard things that happened to her, but she couldn't take care of herself.
Mm-hmm.
She lost the ability to make good decisions, to make safe decisions. That's part of schizophrenia. And also, the medicine caused a lot of side effects, which I know all of them have up there. When I went up there, they all have the same, pretty much. She didn't have anger as far as screaming or except she got pretty mad at us because we had the door locked all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She tried, and we had to because she would. Herman looked for Gloria in the car, drove all over everywhere, and I'd stay home thinking she'd come home. So many times that we didn't. She didn't know enough to be safe. That's one thing about schizophrenia. And she got incontinent because at the state hospital she was afraid to get up in the night because one time she got up and it's long, spooky, dark halls in that place, and only a caregiver is behind a locked door. And so then they come and go through the building, I suppose, I don't know how many hours in between. But if they call for help, there's no way they could get help because you couldn't hear them. And then the bathrooms were open and the men and women were mixed in the rooms. Not in the same room, but in the hallways, so that there was no safety at all for her. And so she just didn't get up in the night. So she wet the bed, of course. And they hated that, and they got after her for that. But then she just slept on a rubber sheet. She never had sheets again. And it was a pitiful life. She did still just have sheets at Bryn Mawr until she did get better. So she wasn't incontinent all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And but she didn't ever want to decorate her room. We brought her pretty things, but she'd throw them away. And the only thing she ever kept was a great big poinsettia that I don't know where she got it, but it's in my storage room now because Grace wants it. And I said, I don't want it. It's got bad memories for me. But she said that Grace wanted it. But I brought her pictures to hang on the wall. I brought her songbooks. I brought her picture books of her when she was little, and that, and they're gone. She didn't take care of them, and so I think a lot of times she was frustrated with us because we didn't know what she really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That was sad for us to know that, and sad for her. But we didn't ever have anything to do with this before, so we did the best we could, and it was not always what was needed. But schizophrenia is a distortion, of your thinking, so you can function. And some of them up there are, as they're there, I can see how they deteriorate. Someone comes new and I can't tell if they work there or if they're a patient, because they're so normal. But as soon as they get the drugs, then the next time I see them, they're walking funny and shaking. And so drugs are bad, but they have to do that so they can take care of them.
What age did she get diagnosed with schizophrenia?
Well, she was 16 when we first noticed she was, we noticed it a little bit before, but we thought it was teenager behavior. And then when she finally became, so we knew we took her to our doctor. Of course, we went through that. If you ever see the movie Miracles from Heaven, I saw it, and it freaked me out because I realized every single step that those parents went through, we had gone through, and I had never dealt with it. So I just cried, and I didn't get angry, but I mean, I had to, now I have to deal with that because I dealt with her death and that, but I couldn't deal with those awful, well, I never dealt with them because it was just sort of there, and as one happened, another happened. Like, first we noticed she was something strange, she was not herself, and we took her to our doctor, and then we took her to another doctor, and then we took her to another doctor, and they each have a different, that's what these parents did for that little girl in the movie. And then we also had, after that we had, see now what was it, the next thing that was so painful was that she had all kinds of treatments and surgery and different things, and nothing helped. And finally you get to the doctor telling you there's no cure, and that's what we got. And I remember Ginny was with me when I was at a meeting, and they told us there was no cure. And Ginny cried, but I don't think she even remembers it because I haven't ever brought it up because I don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, then you hear that there's no cure. Well, then you got to deal with it. But this little girl finally died, and then she was in heaven for a few minutes, and then she came back, and she could tell a little bit about Jesus and how wonderful and beautiful it was. But she was also healed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I wasn't bitter about that little girl being healed and Gloria not, but I was shocked by how the father was always steady and strong and sturdy. He didn't break down to emotions. He took care of the need as it came up. While the mother, she was screaming all the time, and I didn't scream because I don't scream, but she was an actress in the movie, so. But she demanded, from the doctors, and she, just like I did. So it was pretty similar, and so it brought all that up from down, that I just packed it down without doing it in. I didn't do it intentionally, but it was down there, all that hurt. So now I'm going to go to a lady at Wooddale that's going to help me to get past that, because I can't do it by myself because I just cry. And so I'm gonna go next week. I have an appointment. And but schizophrenia is a death sentence. It's I don't know anybody who gets well.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of anyone who gets well.
So you'd say it's been hard going through.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard that we neglected our other children. Until Christopher, when he was a little boy, once at the supper table said, "Mom and Dad, if you don't quit talking about all the terrible things that happened to Gloria, I can't eat anymore." And so then I cried. I cried, and I thought, "Oh, fellas, wake up." And so I had to take care of it. Then I realized I wasn't taking care of the other children. I was just, they'd be fine till I get this straightened out, But they needed lots of mothering. And so I had to change. But I went all the time to see Gloria. I had to go up there for 10 minutes, and I couldn't stand it anymore. It was so bad. She'd be pleading with me through this little hole in the door with a window, a locked door, and I'd have to slip through the door, and she'd be behind, and then she'd be watching me go, Oh, how much can you stand? And her, she had to be left there then with all those crazy people. And I said, one time I said, "Do you have made any friends here now?" When she first went to Anoka, she said, "Mother, they're all crazy." So she knew that. So I don't know what she if she really was schizophrenic, she was. I mean, she acted like it, but whether or not she really was, it's a mystery.
Mhm.
But it was the hard. It's it's the hardest. Death is not as hard as these 46 years.